going on, you guys? It's your boy Jeameave back here at Views from the Heart. I hope you're having a blessed day. And today I have a 2019 Volvo XC90 T6 with all-wheel drive with the Inscription trim, courtesy of South Bay Infinity. Once again, thank you so much to my guy Luis and my guy Will and my guy Mitch for this wonderful opportunity. Appreciate you guys so much. So with all that being said, if you enjoy what you're seeing and want to support your boy, do consider subscribing to the channel and browsing more of my videos, because I guarantee you as well that there's more videos coming your way. So that being said, again, this is as aforementioned, this is a Volvo XC90 with the highest trim. And the most interesting to me that pops off right away with this vehicle is the fact that it has a twin charge, not twin turbocharged, twin charge. It's 2-liter inline-4 equipped within this XC90. This SUV is both supercharged and turbocharged. So with that being said, to follow more of my thoughts and take this bad boy for a spin, go ahead and join me on this drive and see what it's all popping in here, because I guarantee this interior right here, lovely. Let's go. So what's this like driving a 2019 Volvo XC90 with the T6 with the Inscription trim? This vehicle is courtesy of South Bay Infinity. Once again, as aforementioned in some of my previous videos, South Bay Infinity is not solely delegated to just selling Infinities. They also have a veritable selection of used vehicles. And this is honestly one of the best SUVs that I've personally driven. This Inscription model from Volvo is quite luxurious, to say the least. And my guy Will sitting with me here, shotgun, thank you so much. For the people that are watching, Will, where can the people reach you if they have any questions about Infinities, where they're purchasing this model or anything else available at South Bay Infinity? You can text me, give me a call. Phone number is 323-491-3975. My fault. Tesla just confused me. I'm like, come on, fam. But anyway, again, this is the Volvo XC90. This is the 7-row seating capacity, the largest SUV, with also the highest trim level offered by Volvo. And I do have it in dynamic mode, and you know, obviously I'm going down some roads that this is not made for, or even anywhere in the zip code of being in mind, but it does have a dynamic mode, which is very interesting. But I think the most interesting aspect of this vehicle, this SUV, which has a curb weight of just under 4,400 pounds, has a 2-liter inline-4 that is twin charged. Not twin turbocharged. It is turbocharged and supercharged at the same time. Yes, you heard that correctly. Maybe the Swedes know something other manufacturers don't. This is not necessarily something new. This was mainly done earlier when turbo technology was at its inception, when it had a very long spooling time. The reason why some manufacturers back then, and I guess Volvo now, chooses to twin charge their system is because it tends to alleviate any of the negatives that either one of them would have alone. For example, turbocharged vehicles tend to have spooling issues or lag, and supercharged vehicles tend to have parasitic loss because it's driven by the engine itself. So while it makes the vehicle have more horsepower, it also takes away some horsepower just to drive the belt of the supercharger. So when you combine the two together, it's supposed to have a lot more responsiveness while alleviating any of the issues that the two of them might have together. And you guys are driving like some little babies. It's kind of fun though. Like there's obviously some body roll in here, but surprisingly it feels pretty compliant and pretty stiff overall for an SUV, and I'm very surprised. The steering is very I can feel like as if it's electronic. It's not vague. It's just not how should I say? It's communicative and direct, but still there's a lot of feedback that I would personally want that is not necessarily there. It's not the worst steering that I felt before, but it's also something that I can say that I would be content with in my day-to-day driving. It's not ideal for me personally, but it's doable. And this is something that is I'm very impressed. Like I said, the interior in here is pristine. The engine is a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, twin charge, as aforementioned, pushing 316 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque by 2200 RPMs, and it makes peak horsepower at 5700 RPMs. So this is it has a little spunk to it, and like I said, it's not the heaviest SUV either. With the two of us in here, it is up to about, I'll say probably about 4,700, 4,800 pounds around there. And it, again, as I mentioned as well, this does have a seating capacity for up to 7 people. Along with that, it is also mated to an 8-speed automatic. Whoa, god damn, what the hell? You see? That scared me. Sorry, there is I guess some debris kicked up by a vehicle in front of us. Lord, I hope that did not crack, because I don't need those problems, man. Well, God be trying me these past 2 weeks, fam. But anyway, I have evidence that I was not doing anything wrong. So that will come out of my pockets. But I swear I was coming straight from my face. But anyway, I had the seat warmers on. I don't know if you guys can tell I'm sweating, but Lord, these seat warmers are toasty, to say the least. I actually am kind of sweating right now. I might need to turn these up. Let me just. It's ventilated seats. It has a heated steering wheel, heated seats, and ventilated seats. And we are in sunny Los Angeles, California. We're technically Torrance, and it is a brisk 69 degrees for my East Coast people. So you know, it says oh damn, it turned off.
No, it says cars will stop recording.
Oh, that is interesting. I could have sworn. You see what I mean by how the universe be trying me sometimes. Well, that's cool. Then you can just put that one down. Apparently, I didn't do my due diligence and delete old recordings, so I guess I have to do that more often, apparently. But anyways, as I was saying, this is comfortable in pretty much every sort of the way. And even though it's in its highest sport setting, dynamic is what it's called. It's not really called sport. It's still pretty supple. What are your thoughts so far, Will? So far, because I know this is the first time you're actually even really kind of tinkering with this truck.
It's actually pretty good. It's pretty clean for the inside. Drive, it's nice as well.
Let me see. I'm gonna put it back in comfort mode and see. So I'm in comfort and see how much the suspension changes once it reaches back into comfort. All right, calm down, Tahoe. But so right away you can tell that when it's out of dynamic, the throttle response is not as active. In other words, so let me just turn that down. All right, I don't know if it's making too much background noise, but overall, I'm not a big fan of 4-cylinder engines in general. But this twin supercharged system is making it feel like as if it's not. In complete honesty, it is. Although if you were to sit in here and drive this and you had your ears plugged and were not listening for a specific engine note, you would not know that it is a 4-cylinder hauling this 4,400 pound SUV around. And it's quite spunky. I'm gonna put it. I don't know if that's the most ideal word to describe it, but it's peppy. And it's something that you wouldn't really expect out of a 4-cylinder, because usually most 4-cylinders you come across have, you know, probably like on average anywhere between 200 to 250 horsepower, depending on trim levels from its contemporaries. But this is a nice medium, because it's pleasurable to see that this is packing 316 horsepower. And it just, as for an SUV, mind you, like I said, it was all within context. This doesn't really feel like it's lacking for power. It doesn't feel like it's struggling. It doesn't feel like this 4-cylinder is running out of steam or anything like that. It feels very compliant throughout its rev range, which I'll be able to display shortly as soon as I make this right. But overall, like I said, I'm in comfort, and I definitely feel a complete difference when it comes to putting it in dynamic mode and putting it in comfort mode. The suspension definitely became far more supple and more forgiving. And like I said, it's also a little bit more it's also a little bit within context too, because let me see. So that's this foot all the way down. Remember, this is a 4-cylinder, and it doesn't. I've felt many 4-cylinders before that tends to run out of steam very quickly when approaching the high RPMs. And it does have a red line of, it looks like 6,500 according to the tachometer. And this is also an all digital dash, which is very nice to see. It's even displaying the speed limit of the current street that I'm on in Mexico that we just transferred to. But overall, like I said, this is something that I honestly would purchase for myself if not for my family. It is very, this is a great everyday vehicle, especially if you need the space of 7 seats. It's very spacious, actually, even for the middle occupants, and for the rear occupants too. Looks like it has more than enough room to even the steering wheel is giving me a little bit more feedback than I expected. It seems like even when you're coming towards stop and going a little bit slower, the steering tends to tighten just a little bit, even though I'm in comfort mode. So that's interesting. I've only experienced that on a few vehicles before. But overall, like, so I'm honestly impressed by what Volvo has created here. The trim, especially with the flat wood, I'm not a fan of glossy wood. Gives a nice, how should I say, elegant yet respectable and luxurious taste to it, in my personal opinion. Overall, the layout in here, there's not many negatives I can personally find about this vehicle. Base price for the T6 model, I believe the T6 is the designation that comes with the twin charged 2-liter inline 4. I believe starts at $56,000, and brand new, this vehicle with the inscription trim with pretty much everything you see within here starts at about $63,000. So I feel like personally, when I'm thinking about what this can compete with, in terms of it offering a 7-seater and ample horsepower, just luxury overload. You got 3D facing cameras, heated and ventilated front seats. There's a lot of things in here that panoramic roof. That's gorgeous. You can never go wrong with a panoramic roof. I'll let you know that. There's many things in here that I genuinely enjoy, and I can honestly see myself owning something like this, because it's elegant both on the inside and the exterior. And there's it's very hard for vehicle makers, in my opinion, to reach that sort of equilibrium in terms of the vehicles that I've personally experienced, and when it comes to providing something that feels good on an everyday basis. Like I said, this is a really good everyday. You hear that? Remember, this is in comfort mode too. Like I said, this is something that I don't think anyone, when looking at this for an SUV, could complain about, honestly. I'm a horsepower person, and I honestly don't really see the need for more in here. It feels like it's adequate to haul this vehicle around. And funnily enough, this also can tow a up to 5,000 pounds towing capacity. So it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife, but it's also nails, in my personal opinion, the luxury aspect for you know, your above average consumer. It's not, I'm not gonna sit here and say like it's Rolls Royce quality or anything like that, but you know, for obvious reasons. But I think for what you're paying and what you're getting is definitely ideal, and it's something that people would not complain about, regardless of I don't think there's anyone that can really honestly come in here and say that this is not ideal for them, especially if they have a family, and especially if they're in need of seven seating capacity. And again, this vehicle is available at South Infinity right here in Torrance, California. Once again, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. Shout out to my guy Will and my guy Luis for allowing, and Mitch, for this opportunity. I appreciate you guys so much. And like I said, I do believe I've covered everything I needed to about this vehicle. Again, if you have any questions about this vehicle, please feel free to reach out to my guy Will. And with that being said, I think I've covered everything I needed to, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a blessed day.